I'm Tina Sams from the Essential Herbal Magazine, and
I'm Mary Ann Schwartz from Lancaster County Soapworks.
we're sisters.
We're the Twisted Sisters.
And we're gonna, Mary Ann's gonna be the videographer,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna show you how to distill essential oils.
Okay, off to my job.
Yes. Actually, we're going to be talking more about hydrosols because they're sort of the up-and-coming thing for a very good reason, because they're much less concentrated, they're less dangerous, and they're more sustainable. So we're going to do lavender today, and you'll notice that this is dried lavender because it's April. So we don't have any fresh lavender yet. But what happens is, because it's dried, it's more compact, and it still holds, I mean, it's full of essential oil, and you'll be surprised to see how much we get. By the way, I also want to mention that we did a distillation a few days ago with a group of friends watching, and at the end they will do a question and answer. So, just so when you see that, okay. So, all right. The hydrosol is a combination of water, hydro, and a solvent for small molecules of essential oil that are held in solution. So hydrosol. They can be called floral waters or hydrolates and distillates. Thank you, Mary Ann. And they are often found as rosewater or orange water or witch hazel are the ones that most people are familiar with. But they can actually be all kinds of flowers. In fact, they can even be plants, I should say, because they can even be plants that don't have essential oils. We do a lot of those just to use the hydrosol. For instance, comfrey is an excellent hydrosol for any kind of rash or sore skin. Lavender hydrosol is a wonderful toner. It's a great spritz. It's a linen spray. It's you can use it in food because you can use a little bit of this instead of the essential oil of lavender, and it won't as quickly take over the flavor of your meal. And you would still only want to use a very small quantity because lavender has very strong flavor, whereas rose you could use a little bit more, but lavender you always need to be pretty careful with. Calendula makes a really nice hydrosol. We use jewelweed, which seems to have the same properties as fresh. We find that it really works on rashes and stuff. Plantain's nice. So while the flowers and the ones that we're used to getting through essential oils are wonderful, you can also get some really nice ones that don't have essential oil at all. So let's introduce you to this still. There are boiling chips that keep it from exploding. And then, you know, because it's right on the heater. There's also a heat diffuser between the vial and the heat. Then it comes up, this is the biomass, and this is where you put the botanicals. We only fill this halfway at any time so that we don't waste botanicals. Then it comes up across this bridge. Steam rises, comes up across this bridge after passing through the botanicals. And then this is a condenser, which there's a center tube that goes down through the middle, and then there's a cold water jacket. And they come down here. This will be hydrosol. The essential oil will float on the top, and the hydrosol will drop into this. In here, we have cold water and a fish tank pump that goes up through the condenser to keep that cold water there, which is what makes the steam into liquid again. It's boiling. We're going to wait a few minutes until the steam rises, and then we'll watch the first drops go down into the collector down here. You'll notice that steam has started. You can see it up in here. It started down in here. And pretty soon, and now we can smell it. We can smell, there's just a tiny little outlet where the steam comes out, but it will fill a room quickly.
Boiling away.
Before the steam goes into the condenser, first it will drop down
Which is a really bad thing if you have chunks of cucumber in there.
Yeah.
One of our experiments.
Why don't you explain it, Marianne?
Well, while we're waiting, we once decided that cucumber hydrosol would be a great idea. Oh,
See, it's
starting to
gathering
go
up there.
across.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No.
Oh, there goes one. Right there. Do you see it?
Yeah. Oh, yes. There it goes. See how it's dripping down?
And now it's hitting.
And then it will go down, 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 up, and it's going into the collector.
Okay, well, we're waiting for it to get to the top. Now, you can tell the...
Okay, so we decided we should make cucumber hydrosol because it would be good for the skin, and maybe we could put it in soap and all that jazz. So we loaded up the biomass. At that time, we didn't know you didn't fill the biomass. We loaded it with just chunks of cucumber and didn't even clean out the goopy, seedy part or anything. Oh, and there goes into the... There goes the hydrosol out of the little chute. It's like a gravy boat, gravy collector. The oil will float to the top and the hydrosol will come out from the bottom. Back to the cucumber. So we loaded it up, and as the water boiled, as soon as the steam hit the cucumber, the cells of the cucumber burst, and the boiling flask filled with water. And we luckily learned that the little spout on the side could be used to siphon water out. And it was right next to a sink, and with a piece of extra hose, we did that, and everything was fine. Following
Panic.
Panic. A very interesting time of extreme panic, yes.
I'd like to...
Okay.
There's quite a bit of essential oil is already...
Here we go again.
collecting
there. It is,
there.
Yeah.
So when we first started working with essential oils a few decades ago, we were using them for soap mostly, and there were only probably 20 that were readily available to the public. They were mostly used industrially and, flavor gum and stuff like that. So you could pretty much learn about them. But now there are hundreds of them. And they're easy to get, and you don't really have to know much about them. So we know a couple of people who have become sensitized to these, and there's only so many. Each essential oil is made up of 3 or 4 components, which are then, let's say there's 40 components altogether: limonene, eugenol, thymol, so on. And so if you become sensitized to one of these, then it's everywhere, and plus you're more likely to get sensitized to other components. So you really can't use anything neat, even though everything you read, which used to be the knowledge of the time, or it was what people believed, including us. Mm-hmm. But later we found out that you really couldn't do that. So you always have to dilute everything, and that's what makes hydrosol so great. They're already diluted, although you can still dilute them more. They're still very strong. But the lavender we really like for all kinds of reasons. If this is something you want to try at home without going to the expense of buying a still, you can try the stock pot method here, where this is a stock pot. We put a brick or heat-proof block in the bottom of the pan, a heat-proof bowl, fill it with water and botanicals, the water only going as high as the brick. And then you need a lid that fits this pan that you fill with ice, inverted lid, and that acts as a condenser. The ice cools the lid, and then it comes down and
when the steam hits it, it
drops
condenses
down into this bowl. So you have a combination of the essential oil will float on the top and the hydrosol, but and it'll be a small quantity, which is the same as we get with ours, is a small quantity. But this is fun to play with. So now we've shown you how you can do it with a still, how you can get these things with the still, how you can do it at home if you want to try it that way. And so let's move on to some questions.
talk a lot about hydrosol, but I have no idea what it is.
Oh, it's smaller molecules of essential oil that are in solution with the water. It doesn't come out of solution. It stays suspended.
And you might use it in cooking and.
Yeah.
Or
It becomes something else. It becomes more than just water.
Mhm.
You know, it becomes more than oil and water. It becomes something else.
The hydrosol, in terms of concentration, would be like the essential oil, but the essential oil would be much, excuse me, much more concentrated
Oh, wait,
than
yes.
the hydrosol.
Yeah,
Safer.
it's a lot safer to use the hydrosol. The essential oil is, we're getting so much in this particular one that it's hard to really express, but there are plants you can take a bushel of them, and fresh rose, for instance, and get nothing, but you get a beautiful hydrosol. So, yeah, it's just a lot safer and more, what is that word?
Sustainable?
Thank you, yeah. Yeah, it's a lot more sustainable. So, and I think it's really kind of the wave of the future. I think that essential oils are being used in such a lot of
Reckless?
irresponsible ways, so that gradually we're just going to move to this because it makes more sense. Lavender is one of the best ones externally. It's because it's healing and it's cooling and it's relaxing. You can use it for a relaxing spritz or something like that. But also in to flavor tea or you like martinis, you know, something like that. So yeah, there are so many uses for them that people are just starting to use them. So.
What happens, you mentioned not overfilling the biomass chamber.
Well, what happens is you actually just wind up wasting it because it'll tunnel through there. It's like, have you ever heard of with tea? You want it to have lots of room. It's called the agony of the tea. So if it's too tightly packed. Yeah.
So is the liquid on the bottom that's boiling now, is that hydrosol? Is it?
No, this is
Water.
sort of like tea actually,
Okay.
because what happens is this
It starts to
continually
drip
drifts down
Did it
and
just start out as water? Okay.
it's clear. There's really not too much. I dyed something one time dyed something pink, but it wasn't really color fast, or you know. So
Seems like it might be good water for watering plants.
plants, yeah. So that's how we do hydrosols, and that's a little bit about what you can use them for. Thank you very much.